Now, 8 months ago, we got one of the craziest announcements that we could possibly get. And it's 2024, so you know what? What were we even expecting? Jake Paul is going to be fighting Mike Tyson. Now, as of recording this fight happened about less than a week ago. And I gotta say, from the moment that it was announced, I've been following this thing. So let's go through it. And let's talk about all the aspects of this crazy journey. Now, the announcement happened 8 months ago. It was declared that it was going to be a Netflix special. And it was kind of announced through Jake Paul releasing a video, which was effectively Jake Paul just making fun of Mike Tyson. See, by the way, if you're not like caught up on the history here, Mike Tyson straight up bit someone's ear off. Like, Mike Tyson, he's got to have lived one of the craziest lives ever. Apparently, this all kind of got started because Mike called Jake the wrong name. He called him Logan. Is that really what started this? No. But it's kind of one of those things that Jake ran with. Now, let's start off with Jake Paul. He was a Viner, turned YouTuber, turned Disney star, turned all-around hated person on the internet. He's a massive controversial figure, but in 2018 he started his fighting career, and he's gone on to have many other boxing fights since then. Many of them were wins and knockouts. But you know, Jake Paul's actually got a fair bit of smack, seeing that many of those people he was fighting who were non-boxers. There was only been a few exceptions to this. So that brings me on to the next fighter, because I guess he took that on personally, decided to fight one of the most legendary boxers of all time, Mike Tyson, aka Iron Mike, who just at this point just so happened to be almost 60 years old. I'm telling you, this whole journey is crazy. A little bit about Iron Mike. He was boxing for about 25 years, from the 80s to the early 2000s. He's widely considered the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. He won his first 19 fights by knockout, and 12 of those were in the first round. Which is absolutely insane. He is an absolute animal in the ring. Well, he was when he was at his prime. In 2005, he had his lost fight and he lost, and admitted that he had lost his love for the sport and did not intend on coming back.
We won't see you fight again?
Yeah, that's most likely. I'm not going to fight again. I'm not going to disrespect the sport in my body.
But I guess that changed when he was challenged by Jake Paul. What else is there about Mike? Oh, he also went to prison for SA. Huh. How is this guy not cancelled? You know what? That's a terrible thing to do, but let's just move on for the sake of the video. Now, this has been really interesting because Mike, he is probably one of the most admired boxers of all time. Jake, on the other hand, is a very well-known person for being hated by lots of people on the internet. He's been controversial, he's been involved in a bunch of stuff. I don't really want to go into that, but that's his perception on the internet. People really don't like him. And this kind of led to this idea that no matter what, Jake loses and Mike wins, because if Jake loses the fight, he lost to Mike Tyson. If he wins the fight, he bet a nearly 60-year-old in the ring. like, it's not very admirable. But there's a lot of speculation that this was really just for the money. Mike got paid a lot of millions. Well, I think it was like 4. Maybe not. Maybe it was 2. I don't remember. Now, just as anything that happens on the internet, memes started to come out. Here's my favorite. This one's definitely my favorite, followed closely by this one. This one's also pretty good. It's like I could have made a whole video just looking at the memes. The general census was they were still expecting Mike to win, especially once you kind of see the training footage. I kind of felt like Jake was going to take it away because, again, I think he's getting up there in age, and to have that level of stamina to keep up with a 20-something-year-old, but I did think Mike packed in a very, very hard punch, and if he could get him out in the first few rounds, Mike might be able to take it away. But then we read the rules, and pretty much everything that gave Mike his advantage was kind of, he was told he wasn't allowed to do it. No knockouts in the first 3 rounds. Admittedly, you know, we talk about stamina. They did shorten it, so there were 2-minute rounds, and there was only 8 of them. So that kind of did help cater to Mike a little bit. The rumors were coming to pop up that this was going to be rigged. And then we got there to watch this amazing fight. Unless you live in America and Netflix didn't work for you. Me in New Zealand, hey, we got to watch the fight fine, but America was struggling. Which is just ridiculous when you consider the fact that, you know, they were talking about how this is going to be like the biggest streamed fight of all time. Now, it's important to say I don't really watch boxing. So as I was watching the fights leading up to it, I was getting really into it. Like, I started to realize that there was this inner love of violence inside of me, and I was absolutely loving watching these people. And then we got to the main event. Now, the walkouts, they were perfect. Jake came out in a car. He had his brother there. He was surrounded by all these people. When Mike first walks out, it's just him. And I gotta say, it was badass. And I'm not talking about his actual ass, which he showed to the entire camera, like half an hour beforehand. He walks out badass. He's quickly followed by some people, his support team. But man, it was the perfect walkouts to build up to what could be the perfect fight. But now that it's happened, a lot of people think it was a bit of a letdown. Now, in all fairness, like, it was just kind of sad because we started to see Mike's age come through. You know, he wasn't as fast. He wasn't taking the strong hits. You could tell that Jake Paul was kind of holding off. Many were disappointed because Mike kept on biting his glove instead of biting Jake Paul's ear off, which was, you know, like, I was in a room with people, and at one point, I think at the end when they kind of do that little bit of a hug, someone in the room was just chanting, "The ear's right there, mate. Go for it. Go for it. You got this." So we got to that last round, and all of us were on the edge of our seats. They're like, "Come on, you got this. Take him out, Mike. Come on, Jake. Don't go easy. Make this badass." And then they keep going easy. And then they get to the final 10-second. And I'm like, this is it. Mike, he's going to do it. He's going to go Hundy. And then they kind of had like one of the cutest endings possible. Yeah, like, it was quite a sweet ending. Wasn't what I was after, but it was sweet. Now we're at the aftermath. A lot of people are kind of sad at seeing Mike in that state. All of us are just proud that he got back into the ring and lasted 8 rounds. Like, for his age, you gotta understand how incredible that is. And that's not talking down to Mike. What I'm saying is, I know people his age, they have to go to hospital if they fall over. He got into the ring and lasted 8 rounds. Like, that's just impressive. Again, when you look back at the beginning, there was no way Mike could lose. And you know what? There's still a lot of hate heading towards Jack's way and a lot of love heading towards Mike. So Mike really did just win. You know, Mike Tyson came forward and said how thankful he was and how much, you know, he kind of enjoyed it, which is great. It's good to see that he's got that love for the sport. That hate towards Jake has increased dramatically. Every keyboard warrior around is just taking this chance to hit this man and hit this man hard. And it is very strongly believed that this was faked. So strongly believed. To the point where people were like, if you go, "I don't think it was faked on the internet," some guy's going to come forward and be like, "Oh, do you believe WWE was real?" Moron. Every conspiracist is taking their chance. This is their time to shine. All in all, at the actual end of the fighters, they were happy. That's all that matters. They were happy. That might be partly due to the massive payday, but, you know, we'll never know. We'll never know. Now, let's talk about my opinion. If it came out that this fight was rigged, I wouldn't be surprised. Personally, I don't really think it was. I think there's a lot of explanations. The fighters were holding back. They wanted to make it to the end. That rule that they put in place to make sure there was no knockouts earlier on kind of justifies why Mike didn't go Hundy. And by the end, he was probably quite tired. I do think Jake held back. Like, I do think Jake didn't go at his peak performance because he realized that Mike was kind of tired and slow, and he didn't want to just... It came off to me that he wasn't trying to use this as an ego hit. He really was just fighting a hero. I have opinions on Jake, but this is what I generally think in this specific context. I think Logan was cringe at this point.
I don't know. Maybe his brother.
You want to fight Logan? Logan, I think he said you might be next.
I'll kill you, Mike.
please. No.
Like, I think it's worth mentioning that there's no way Mike was going to be running at full performance when he actually almost died months earlier. I think maybe if that didn't happen, we would have had a different fight, but Mike almost died. To think he was going to be at peak performance, again, we go back to his age. People his age who had gone through what he did would spend the next like 2-3 years recovering. The fact that he was able to get back into the ring, massive, absolutely massive. Mike's ass was both the worst and the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And again, I have my opinions, but there were moments where I was impressed with Jake as he held back. And overall, I think I like boxing now. I'm gonna watch more boxing. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a subscribe, click another video, do all those sorts of things. And you know what? If there's ever someone who's challenging someone 3 times their age to a fight, be snarky to them, because do you know what? They're probably rich anyway. Who cares? Have a good one.